Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you a little bit about Social Security in the Philippines, what works and what doesn't work. And for those of you who have been here before, welcome back to the channel. All those of you who are new here, my name is Mike and this is Mike's Philippine Retirement, Life Abroad After 60. And today I want to talk to you about something I see almost on a daily basis here. People coming to the Philippines, coming to Dumaguete, Cebu City, who have nothing but their Social Security. They don't have a pension. They don't have a 401k. They don't have a lot of savings. Can you make Social Security work here in the Philippines? Of course you can. And I'm not here to judge people based on how much money they make per month. What we're going to talk about today is Social Security is not a retirement plan. It's just a payment. Now, it's a check you receive every month, hopefully direct deposit into your U.S. bank account. And it's the same amount on the same day every month, month after month after month. And hopefully once a year we get a little bit of a boost, with that cost of living increase. I think the last one was 2.8%. But coming here to the Philippines, be prepared for inflation. Like I said, your check's going to be the same every month, but inflation does make the prices go up a little bit. And be aware of the adjustments to the peso, to the US dollar. Right now we're hovering in that 58 to 59 peso per dollar range. I remember when I was preparing to come to the Philippines, it was hovering in that 50 to 51 peso to the dollar range. So got a good increase in the value of the US dollar to the Philippine peso. So it makes it easier for those of us on Social Security to survive here and to prosper here. Just remember, the Philippines is cheaper than the US, but it's still not free. Things cost money. What works? The people who succeed here in the Philippines, they do a few things. And one of the things they do is they have a simpler lifestyle. They also prepare for health care and health insurance or health care emergencies, your medical. And the other thing they do is they understand banking. They do 99% of their banking in the US, transfer over the money they need when they need it. And also have a little nest egg here in the Philippines. Trust the US banks far more than you're going to trust any other bank in the world, because we're Americans. And we live in the US most of the time. We've always been there. You've built a relationship with your banks, so trust the US banks. Have your Social Security check direct deposited into your bank account. And once you're here, and your lifestyle has to be much more simple here in the Philippines, and enjoy the life that you choose here. If you like living in the mountains, live in the mountains. If you like the beach, live close to the beach. But it's your choice, but have a simpler lifestyle. The people who struggle the most here are the ones that just show up with no plan and they're just waiting for their next Social Security check. They don't have any savings, they don't have any additional revenue stream, no startup money, unprepared. Remember the old saying, people who fail to plan, plan to fail. Before you leave the US, now this is the most important part, you must be prepared in advance. One, get your Social Security already lined up. Have a couple checks deposited into US bank. Use direct deposit. Don't be, the 1 out of 10,000 people who get a check mailed to you. That's so old-fashioned things to do. You want direct deposit. The direct deposit does two things in your US bank. One, it keeps your bank account active. It shows your bank that you're using it and you're very active, you're still around, you're getting your checks deposited, you're withdrawing money. It's a good thing. Two, make sure you have more than one bank account. Just in case you're over here 8,000 miles away from the US and you get locked out of one of your bank accounts, the other one's still available to you. You don't need to have complete access to your online banking. There's times when the system goes down, you're over here and they want you to call them and talk to them to re-enable your online access. But your bank account's still good. So in your head, you know how much money you have in the bank. You can transfer it from that bank to the one that you still have access to. Also, get involved with that third-party method of sending money over here to the Philippines. I use World Remit Everybody uses somebody different. It could be Wise, it could be Western Union. I just don't use bank transfers. I don't want my bank knowing I have a bank account here. I don't want them sending money here to my bank. I do everything with World Remit, and I just transferred money the other day, and I sat on the couch. I transferred $2,000 from World Remit to my bank here in the Philippines, BDO Bank. And how I did that was I went online, and you have to have the phone app for World Remit. You can't do it on your computer anymore. It's got to be the phone app. And I put in there who the sender was. It was me. Who is the receiver? It's me. It's used for my personal support, personal reasons. And I transferred $2,000 here. And how did I pay for that transfer? I gave them my debit card. And I gave them the 3-digit code from the back of my debit card. And I had it transferred from one of my bank accounts to World Remit in the U.S. Then World Remit sent it over to my Philippine bank, and it did the conversion and went from dollars to pesos. I got 58.7 yesterday, which I thought was a good rate, and it only took minutes. When I was done, I already got a notification from BDO that a deposit was made into my bank account, and it is available to be withdrawn at any time. So it's a very quick way of doing it. And it's hassle-free. And whatever method you use, I'm not trying to tell you my method is the best. I want you to use something that is very comfortable for you when you're using these third-party money transfer systems. A lot of guys use Wise. A lot of guys still use Western Union. Some guys use PayPal. Whatever works best for you is what you should be using. Now, the reason I'm going to tell you to have more than one U.S. bank account, not only in case you lose access to your online banking, fraud happens everywhere in the world. It can happen anywhere. And also, you should have 2 debit cards just in case of emergency. You should have one of the ones that, like Charles Schwab, where they don't charge you a fee or they reimburse you your fees at the end of the month. But you should have another one. What if you go to use your Charles Schwab card and the ATM machine eats it? Or something happened to it and it's damaged and you can't use it anymore and you need money. And you're using debit cards to get your money. Well, having a backup, my Wells Fargo, yeah, they're going to charge me a little bit of money to make a withdrawal, but I have it as a backup. I'd rather pay a little bit extra and have the money than to be sitting here broke and homeless in the Philippines. So having good access to your money, multiple ways, just in case. And the main thing, guys, before you come here to the Philippines and you're on Social Security, you're going to get a set amount of money every month. You need to have that, quote, emergency fund. And I'm not going to sit here and lecture people on how much you should have. Me personally, I had $20,000 as emergency fund. I had $10,000 cash in my pocket for my startup and my life here in the Philippines, and I had $20,000 as an emergency fund. It wasn't all my money, but that's where I assigned that money. I think you need to have, at least $5,000 for an emergency fund, but whatever amount you have, if it's $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, when you're living here in the Philippines, no matter how much money you have, I honestly believe you should be able to save some of your money and build your savings account. So if you do come here with a smaller emergency fund than you anticipated, like you don't want to wait longer, you want to just come here to the Philippines, start saving money and put that money away. Be good with your money. Remember, you're in business here in the Philippines. Your business is managing your money and managing your life. That is your number one goal. Don't start up a sari store or a pig farm unless you have the extra money. And remember, whatever money you invest, be prepared to walk away from. Remember, I say if you move here with zero amount of money as a cushion, you're not retiring, you're gambling. You're gambling with your life. Once you're living here in the Philippines, there are some things you need to address, and one of them is the amount of money you have every month. And I'm not going to go into what's the right amount. If you got $500, $800, $1,500, $2,000, $10,000, that's up to you. What you have is what you have, and you have that to work with. But you need to live within your means. And when you get here, you got to take care of some of the basics. When you get your check at the beginning of the month or whenever you get it, pay your rent. Make sure you have your rent covered so you have somewhere to live. Pay your visa. You know, that pro-life traveler, he would still be free here in the Philippines if he was caught up on his visa and he didn't end up being an overstay by what, 10 or 15 days? Certain things you have to take care of first before you start spending your money. And I'm saying the rent and visa are the first things you take care of. After that, you go and make the trip down to the Lee's Plaza or Hypermart or Robinson or one of these many grocery stores and buy yourself some food. Not expensive food. You know, chicken here is cheap, pork is cheap, you can get fish is cheap. You can buy a lot of the staples inexpensive, you know, rice and noodles and things, and put some food away for that rainy day, man. You know, it's raining outside and you can't go out and about. Be thrifty when you shop. If you see a good price on something, buy a little bit of extra. You need to stretch your dollar. You know, when we were working, we got a paycheck every Friday or every 2 weeks. If we went broke, no big deal. I got money coming in another day or two. Now, if you go broke, you got to wait till that Social Security check shows up. So take care of the basics right away. Rent and visa are the two big things. After that, your food, your utilities. You know, you can be a day late or something on your electric. It's not a good thing to be late on anything here in the Philippines. But take care of all those things. Your rent, definitely, so you have a place to stay. And the visa, remember, if you're late, they're going to charge you extra. They're going to charge you a penalty and a late fee and an express lane fee. The fees will start to add up. So pay that as soon as you can. Don't fall behind on your visa if you're trying to stretch your money. And remember, you have to pick a place to live. And if you're only on Social Security, you don't have to buy a car. You don't have to buy a motorbike. If you have the extra funds to do that, that's fine. But we're talking about people who are coming here just on Social Security with a little bit of savings. You don't have to buy that stuff. Get used to public transportation, getting in and out of a jeepney, how to take the big yellow bus, Cirrus bus lines, you know, from like Bayawan into Dumaguete. If you're not living in the city of Dumaguete, you can take it from Cebu down to Oslo or Malabol or even Dumaguete. You can travel by bus. Learn how to do public transportation. Right outside my gate, and now I have motorbikes, but if it's raining, I'm not riding in the motorbike. I go right outside my gate and I wave down a trike. And the trike is 25 to 50 pesos. I give 100 because it's what I like to do, and they take me right to where I want to go. So transportation is cheap. If you're in the big city, you know, using Grab or going by taxi, those are inexpensive. You don't need to buy something. You don't need to have a motorbike, and you don't need to have a car. Get it when you're ready. When you're financially stable and you've been here a while and you know you're able to live within your means. Healthcare, that is the biggest thing. And I'm not going to get into healthcare. I'll tell you what I do. I have PhilHealth. PhilHealth covers very little. It will pay 20% of my hospital bill. It does not pay my doctor's bill. And there's a few other things it covers besides that, but the basic is the hospital stay. It'll pay 20% of that. But I have that because what if I'm unconscious and they go in my wallet and they see I have a PhilHealth card, or my partner comes in with my PhilHealth card? They'll take me in because they know they're going to get some of their money. You know, it's just a different layer of protection. Also, do you need an independent insurance agent? Do you need independent insurance overseas? Is that something you want? Pacific Cross with Michael Onstadt is a great place to go for information if you need health insurance. But this is a personal matter for everybody. Me, I've been blessed. I've been able to save some money. I have some extra money. I got money put away. I call myself self-insured. I listened to all these guys who go into the hospital for their heart conditions. I looked up the cost of bypass surgery, of stents being put in, and I have plenty of money to cover that if I have one of those, not both. If I have one of those emergencies to cover. Instead of me paying $3,000 a year for health insurance, I take that $3,000 and I save it. I don't have plan B. I do not plan on going back to the U.S. health insurance, the Medicare. We'll get more into that later, but that's a personal choice. Don't judge me on what I do, and I don't judge you on what you do. Only you know your physical health condition, your family's history, and your finances. And that's up to you. That is a very personal thing to decide, is your health care coverage. How are you going to handle your health care? A lot of guys come here, they don't even think about it. And they say if shit happens, it happens. Well, that's their life. But some get away with it. And stay within your means. Don't live above your means. Try to live below your means. And when you get here, maybe not buy that motorbike right away. Maybe just rent one. Now, I saw an ADV, my friend Herb rented one, a brand new 160, very low mileage on it. It had all the bells and whistles. They wanted 750 pesos a day for that. And that can add up. You know, you go the cost in a month, they're going to charge you like 10,000 pesos, almost $200 for a month. The best thing to do is maybe rent a used Honda Click or something, you know, a 125, something that's used, that'll get you around for the first month to make sure what you like here in town. Maybe you can rent that for about 4,000 pesos, save some money there. And once you decide you're going to live here and you have the extra funds, then start looking at new motorcycles or good used motorcycles. A lot of guys are buying used cars, saving a lot of money over the cost of buying a brand new car here in Dumaguete. Just remember, rent buys you freedom, the freedom to leave and move. Buying can be a trap that a lot of people fall into. And let me warn you about a lot of traps to your budget. Things that creep in and destroy a budget. Dating. You get involved with a girl and now you're dating and you're buying 2 meals and you're buying her clothes and you're taking her to the dentist and you're taking her to the doctor. You're just spending money on her. Maybe you buy her a used motorbike. You're just spending a lot of money. That's going to take away your monthly income until you're ready for this. You know, these are traps. Getting involved with the family too soon, giving money to the extended family. Those are traps, and those are going to hurt you. Remember, Social Security doesn't stretch so far. When everybody has their hand out, everybody wants a little bit of what you have. Learn to say no. Let's just touch on protecting yourself financially, staying safe with your money overseas. Guys, keep most of your money in the U.S. bank. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. A lot of guys come over here, they bring a lot of money today. When I came, COVID just ended, and who knows what was working and not. I brought a lot of cash with me. Today, you don't need to bring a lot of cash. You can transfer money. Once you land, you can transfer yourself $1,000 once you get off the airplane, once you get to your hotel. You don't need to hide $10,000 in your upper pocket or in a bag. You don't need to have a lot of money. You got to protect yourself. And having your money in an American bank, and have more than one bank, have access to your money easily through third-party money transfers, and have multiple debit cards. It does no good having a lot of money in an American bank and you have no access to that money. You need to get your money when you need it, and keep it safe in your U.S. bank. Want to save some money on your transfers? Try to transfer money only once a month. If you're not good with money or you don't feel safe carrying a lot of money, transfer it twice a month. Maybe that first transfer, you pay your rent and you go out and buy a bunch of groceries and you pay your Visa. And then the second one is your play money, the money you need to have fun and live the rest of the month. 2, don't flash the cash, man. Don't flash the cash. That's the worst thing you can do. Use the ATMs that are in a mall next to the bank where you see all these security guys with shotguns. That's where you want to go and get your money. You got security there, not these little ATM machines in front of a dark store way out in the province. Be careful. Be very careful taking money out, and don't take money out the same day at the same time at the same place. Mix up your routine, and don't tell people when you're going. Don't say, hey, tomorrow I got to go to the ATM and get my 100,000 pesos for the month. Don't do that. That's a lot of money here in the Philippines. Don't keep a large amount of money in your house, man. You're going to have to keep some money in your house. Find a good hiding spot. But don't tell anybody you got money in the house. Don't do that. Not even another foreigner. Until you make that great friend and you can trust him explicitly. Because you're going to need that great friend at some time. But don't tell people, having a cup of coffee or you're drinking beer, oh, let me run home, I got 50,000 at home, and, don't tell people you got money at home. Don't become the rich foreigner target. Don't be this guy that everybody thinks is so wealthy and has so much money and jewelry and stuff that you're a target for robbery. Remember, the goal is not to look wealthy, but to stay stable and have a great retirement. Healthcare and Medicare, the big question. Part A is free, you get Part A. If you're VA retired, military, and you're on TRICARE, yes, you have to have Part B and A. You got to have that to use your TRICARE. But for the rest of us, do you keep paying the Part B? The Part B is over $200 a month. Is that something that we need to pay? That's 10% of your income probably is just going to Part B. And you have to realize, and you have to sit down. This is your personal choice. You have to decide, is it worth me paying this? Am I prepared in 4 years or 5 years, if I go back to the U.S., to pay that lifetime penalty, which is more money every month for the premium for the rest of your life? Things you have to think about. Are you just here for 1 or 2 years? Don't cancel it. But if you're making that commitment and you're going to be here for a lifetime, you have no plans to go back. Now you have to think about if you're going to cancel it or not. That's a big deal, man. That's a personal choice. There is no right or wrong answer there. The answer, you know the answer. I don't. Remember, healthcare is cheap here in the Philippines. You can get your arm taken care of if you got a cut for, under $100. If you get in a motorcycle accident, they'll fix a broken leg pretty cheap. But it's cheap until it isn't anymore. You have the big C or you have major heart problems. A lot of these things can get very expensive. So think hard about your health insurance and how are you going to cover yourself. So guys, let's wrap this up. Can you make Social Security work here in the Philippines? Yes, you can. You can live on whatever amount of money is given to you every month. The quality of your life, where you live, how you live, all that depends on your money. But everybody's at a different level, man. Nobody knows how many zeros you have in the bank account. Nobody knows how many zeros I have in my account. But you have to live within your means. When you're sitting at home, you have to really think about, do I have money to go out with the guys and go have a steak dinner? Let's go to the Outback restaurant or Texas Roadhouse. When you really can't afford a $50 or $60 meal, you rather go out and get, a $10 meal. You have to live within your means. And don't try keeping up with the Joneses. The biggest driver of driving these expats broke and driving them back home to the U.S. is trying to keep up with everybody, trying to impress everybody. Everybody wants to, everybody wants other people to think they're successful and the things they do in life works, but not all of us are successful. And some of the most successful people here in the Philippines, people with millions of dollars in their bank account, you don't know they have that kind of money. They're thrifty, man. They're not paying the bill for everybody in the room. They're taking care of their own. And they're looking at the menu and they're looking at the prices. And, when they buy something, they're comparison shopping. Do the same thing. Stay within your means. And the best thing is stay below your means. Try to save some money every month. Your bank account should be growing every month while you're living here in the Philippines, because you should be spending less money than you have coming in. A budget is one thing. Your total income is something different. Don't budget yourself to the last dollar of your income, because you just don't know when you're going to have one of those bad months when shit happens and it costs more and you have an expensive month. And I'm geared for that, but are you? Are you geared for that kind of stuff? And then once you get involved with a girl and her family, still, you don't have to show off. Don't start giving. Don't give money to family if you can't always do it willingly and easily, because it's hard to say no after a while. They get used to receiving that $2K every month. And then you tell them, no, I can't give it to you no more. Well, now they're mad at you because they've been counting on it. So don't start. Give when you feel like it, give when you have extra, but don't make any commitments. Guys, you can live here on your Social Security. You can live here and have a great life. The more money you have, the better the life you're going to have. The less money you have, the more sacrifices you have to make. Until next time, this has been Mike's Philippine Retirement. Life abroad after 60. Talk to you all later.